Colorado has hundreds of ghost towns, and Animas Forks is one of the most popular to visit.
It's pretty easy to see why. It's beautiful up here. It's pretty well preserved. I mean, it's pretty cool to poke around. The houses are still in good shape, and it's just a fun, challenging drive to get here.
So today we're going to take you along with us to visit. We're going to show you what there is to see, and one of the big questions also is about how the road really is to get up here. So we will cover that as well. This morning we're in Silverton, Colorado. We're at 9,300 feet. It's about 40 degrees at 9 a.m. even though it's late August.
But it's a beautiful day. The sun is out, and we're about to take a 12-mile drive up to the ghost town of Animas Forks.
The town is located on the Alpine Loop, which is a 65-mile dirt route that connects the towns of Ouray, Lake City, and Silverton. But the easiest access is from Silverton.
Just how rough that road is, it was difficult to determine in advance. But if you want to keep going past Animas Forks, you'll definitely need a high-clearance four-wheel drive.
The road from Silverton to Animas Forks was a little harder to discern how rough that piece is. And so the BLM says in the summer you can do it in a two-wheel drive. Other people said that you needed four-wheel drive, high clearance even for that section. So we are going to take our happy little stock Tacoma up there, and we will let you know how it is. So the first 2 miles of the route is actually paved, and then there is another 7.5 miles of the route that is a pretty nice gravel road up to the point where we are right now. And so you'll get really pretty views of the Animas River, of some of the mountain peaks, the valleys. It's a really pretty drive to this point, and there's even some old mine relics and things like that to check out along the way. So make sure that you allow plenty of time. At 8 miles, the road turns to dirt, and there are warnings that recommend four-wheel drive and high clearance. From there, the road does get narrower and rockier, and we almost exclusively saw trucks, Jeeps, and OHVs.
The last 4 miles of the road up to here is definitely a four-wheel drive road. There's big rocks, basically. It's a very rocky road. It's not rutted because it's too rocky, but go slow and watch out for other people on the road, and you shouldn't have a problem.
The town is located in a beautiful alpine meadow, and there are 3 rivers that meet nearby, which gave the town its original name, 3 Forks of the Animas. Eventually, that just got shortened to Animas Forks.
And now to explore. Unlike a lot of ghost towns in Colorado, Animas Forks is not on private property. It's actually owned by the BLM, and there aren't any restrictions about walking around the buildings and even going inside. Obviously, the structures are old and a bit fragile. This town's been abandoned for over 100 years, so just, be careful for your own safety and for the safety of the buildings.
Gold and silver were discovered in the area, and the first log cabins were built by prospectors in 1873. 3 years later, Animas Forks was a bustling mining community with 30 cabins, a hotel, a general store, a saloon or two, a post office, and a jail. At its peak, 450 people lived here. There was even a newspaper for a few years called the Animas Forks Pioneer from 1882 to 1886, the highest newspaper in the world. It was gorgeous on our visit, but at 11,200 feet, winters were especially brutal, and every fall, apparently the population migrated down the mountain to Silverton, which is several thousand feet lower. When I was researching the history of the town, I ran across the blizzard of 1884 a lot, and actually this sign references the winter of 1875, so I'm not actually sure which it is, but they said that 25 feet of snow fell over 23 days, and the residents up here actually had to build tunnels in between the buildings to get around. No, thank you. There are some really good informational signs about the history of the town. Some, like this house, actually has a nice sign that talks about the people who lived in this house. Some of the buildings don't really have any specific information about what they were used for, so it really varies, but there's a lot of good information and a lot of neat buildings to see.
So this house here had the luxury of an indoor bathroom. I doubt they had indoor plumbing, but at least they had an indoor bathroom. Had its ups and downs, but it was declining by the early 1900s, following the silver market crash in 1893. Once the Gold Prince mine shut down in 1910, it was only a matter of time, and Animas was a ghost town by the 1920s. Although we found there were still a few residents.
a really worthwhile trip, and I'm really glad that we made it and came up here. This ghost town, we've seen a lot of ghost towns in Colorado. There's maybe a foundation that's left, or a really leaning building with, you know, signs not to get too close, or that really hasn't been kept up. And so this place is really different because you can approach things. It's actually been, it seems like it's been maintained, but in more of an original kind of way, not a museum-y kind of way, but it's still in good shape. It seems like people are treating it pretty well overall as well. So it's still well preserved is a good term.
Yes. And we're here, it's the Friday of Labor Day weekend, and I would say it's busy, but it's not crowded.
Yeah.
Like, there's people that keep coming and going, but there's still plenty of room to walk around, and you're not getting in each other's way, and there's enough that you can check out the houses on your own.
I think there's 9 buildings, if I'm remembering right. It's about 9 that you can check out, and there's little paths in between, and so people spread out pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to poke around.
Yeah. So if you have a chance to get up here and you have a vehicle you feel comfortable coming up here in, we highly recommend it. If you don't, there's actually lots of other options. There are plenty of places that rent ATVs, which looks like a lot of fun. You can rent a Jeep. You can take a Jeep tour. So there's still a lot of ways to get here, even if you don't want to drive up here.
Yep, and it's beautiful up here. It's 11,200 feet.
Yep.
So we just had someone tell us it's the highest he's ever been in his life.
So
that's pretty cool.
That is cool. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the scenery is amazing. So yeah, it's just all the things together make it just a really unique location and a worthwhile trip.
Yep.
So we hope this is helpful to you in deciding whether this is a trip that you want to make. And until next time,
enjoy your travels.